Hello, hello, beautiful souls. Welcome back to Next Level You podcast. It feels like forever since I have recorded a solo episode, but I'm not going to lie, it feels really freaking good to be back behind the mic. I really hope that you guys got a lot out of the mini series for the month of October. The mini series for October was all about the different phases of the female cycle and aligning each of those phases with your business, your productivity, all the things. That whole idea came to me as a download, and thank goodness for my VA, Christy, who is an expert on all things cycle syncing. So it just made the most sense to bring her onto the podcast and do this mini series. And it was just so cool to sit down and record this with her. I learned so much. And I really hope that whole subject resonated with you guys because when I create something, whether it be content or when I create an episode for the podcast or whatever it is, I don't solely create it for you guys. I mean, there's a selfish factor that comes into play here. Like, I also create it because I myself am interested in it. I find value in it. I am passionate about it. When it resonates with the listener, I'm always super grateful for that because it just goes to show that there's a lot of people out there who are just like me who find value in the same things that I do. I really want to just dive into today's episode. I have been wanting to talk to you guys all about the concept of self-worth. So my goal for today's episode is I really want to help you guys recognize that self-worth is inherent. It's not conditional. And I really want to empower you guys to reclaim your confidence, regardless of whether you carry past wounds or regardless of whether there's external validation or not. So let's just dive right in. I have been recognizing lately between my private practice clients and my coaching clients, both women and men that I work with, I have noticed that there is like this silent pandemic happening where so many people are struggling with wounds around self-worth and around confidence. I mean, it's truly a pandemic. I maybe have two clients total that I don't need to work with on self-worth or confidence. And I get it, right? Like I, at one point in time, struggled with that as well. But just has been really telling to me like, wow, there are a lot of people that just are not owning their worth. That's sad to me. It's sad. And we normalize it. It's such a common thing, but let's do something about it. Like, why is this so normal? And we're going to get into that. And I'm going to I'm going to share some information with you guys on why this is. But last year, when I went to the Powerhouse Women Conference for the first time, the keynote speaker was Jamie Kern Lima. Jamie Kern Lima wrote the book called Worthy. And if you haven't read it, I will link it in the show notes. You guys need to seriously buy that book. It is worth every penny. It's worth every penny. It's such a good book. And I think I lent mine to one of my therapy clients right now. I don't have it on hand. If I did, I would show it to you. I'm putting it up there almost with the Bible. You guys, it is such a good book. If you struggle with owning your self-worth, if you struggle with owning your value, then you need to read this book. And since reading that book and since hearing Jamie Kern Lima at Powerhouse Women last year, my whole perspective on self-worth has shifted in a big way. So that's going to be the theme of today's episode is I want to talk with you guys about self-worth wounds, how they're everywhere. And even though they're normal, even though they're common, I want you guys to know that we have the power to break that cycle. Self-worth is knowing your true value. It's not confidence. I always explain it to clients like self-worth is the foundation that confidence sits on top of. So if that foundation is cracked, if that foundation is not sturdy, your confidence is not going to stay. It's not going to be firm. You need a firm foundation, first and foremost. You need a strong self-worth. You need to know and believe in your value and see your worth and know that it's inherent and it's not based off of what others think. It's not based off of what you were told. It's based off what you believe in. If you're a spiritual person or a God-fearing woman like me, then you also know it's based on what God thinks of you or what that higher power thinks of you. When I say self-worth wound, there's many different ways this wound can be formed, but And I'm going to go into those, but when I say self worth wound, it's a wound that was formed as a result of either trauma, toxic relationships, things like that. So, where do these wounds come from? First and foremost, they can come from childhood experiences or childhood trauma. So, when I say childhood experiences, it could be maybe a parent not showing you love the way that you needed it, or it could be a parent or a guardian potentially abandoning you in those like formative childhood years. Those acts can subconsciously send the message to us that we aren't good enough. Like, I wasn't good enough for you to stick around after the divorce, or I wasn't good enough for you to spend time with me. It's the actions of a parent or guardian that can send that message to our subconscious. Another way for a self-worth wound to be formed is through toxic relationships. So maybe having a pattern of unhealthy or toxic relationships, like consistently, one after another, or even just one potentially. But having these toxic relationships can also send the message to your subconscious that you aren't good enough. In my early adult years, like right out of college, I was in a very unhealthy relationship. And that definitely sent that message to me that I wasn't good enough. Other ways that that self worth wound can be formed is through generational patterns. So, something like growing up, hearing a parent battle with their lack of self worth can then cause you to carry that same pattern into your adult years. Or having a parent that didn't heal from their own trauma and they don't feel good enough and they project that onto you potentially, which can also be a form of emotional abuse. And then another way that the self worth wound can be formed is it could be a wound that you carried in from a past life or like an energetic carryover from a past life. That is all too common as well. If you've ever done an Akashic record reading, and maybe you've brought healing to something like that, then you definitely know what I'm talking about. But that's a very common phenomenon as well. But I want to point out that no matter the origin of this wound, it can be healed. That's literally a lot of the work that I do with my therapy clients. I want you to hear this. It is always a choice to reclaim your worth. It is always a choice. You can choose to not reclaim it. You can choose to continue to battle with this wound, or you can choose to reclaim your worth, reclaim that power, and ultimately grow from it. Okay, I want to give you some truth bombs about self worth. First of all, it's inherent, it's not dependent on things like your productivity, your success, others' opinions of you. We so often fall into these traps where we think, I definitely fell into this trap early on when I was working like in more traditional jobs, like when I was the school social worker. I definitely at that point in my life had my self worth tied to my productivity. I thought if I showed up every day and gave 110%, that I would be seen as more of a worthy individual. And that's just not the case. And I did initially carry that into my business when I started my private practice. Somebody pointed that out to me early on. And it really opened my eyes like, oh my God, that's what I'm doing. I'm tying my worth to my productivity. And that is ridiculous. That's just not the case. But it's so easy to fall into that trap. Same with success. We think the more successful I am, the more worthy others will think I am. Well, your worth isn't dependent on other people and what they think of you. So that's just not the case. And then that just naturally goes into the opinions of others. If your worth is tied to what others think of you, then that foundation is not very strong. It's cracked, it's weak, it's not sturdy. So you need to strengthen that. Another truth bomb is we give away our worth when we outsource it to other people. So when you are in that headspace of thinking, my worth is dependent on what others think of me, you're outsourcing it. Stop outsourcing that. Stop giving your worth away. It's inherent in you. You get to decide that, not other people. And if this is something you're doing, I really encourage you to reframe your mindset around this. No one else gets to decide your worth but you. So when that thought comes into your head that it's dependent on what others think of you, whether it be your parents, your spouse, your coworkers, your girlfriends, whatever, you need to reframe it and tell yourself nobody else gets to decide my worth except for me. And I really encourage you to ask yourself, where have I been giving away my worth? Where have I been outsourcing it? Really sit with that, maybe journal on it. That was a really telling question for me early on. Early on in my business, I was outsourcing it. I was making it based on productivity and success. which is just not the case. Like I said before, that confidence sits on top of the foundation being self worth. There's a misconception that confidence is arrogance. And I really want to dispel that because confidence just is not arrogance. Okay. Confidence is just honoring who you truly are and being comfortable showing up as that version of you. That's not being arrogant. And for people who think that confidence is arrogance, they are just looking in a mirror. You are triggering them. They are having a hard time showing up authentic. Seeing you show up confidently is triggering them. That's a them problem, not a you problem. But I'm telling you, confidence is not arrogance. So I was having a conversation with my husband. This was probably about, I don't know, maybe 3 or 4 months ago now. One thing you need to know about my husband and I is like we have a dark sense of humor. We do joke around with each other a lot. He just has such a great sense of humor. I just think I'm such a funny human being. Well, we were talking one night in the kitchen. We were debriefing about our days, and I was giving him shit about something. I can't remember what it was now. It's not coming to me, but I was giving him shit about something that he does that I find annoying. And I was just totally joking. And he came back with me by giving me shit about something that I do that he finds annoying. And I totally stopped in my tracks and I was like, wait, you mean you can see flaws in me? Like, you legit see fault in me? Like, I totally was joking, but also like half serious. And I was like you can legit see something wrong with me. And he was like thrown off. He was like, what are you talking about? And I'm like, I don't know. I guess I just thought that you think that I fart glitter and poop rainbows, and you're telling me you don't? And he totally lost it. And he was like, wow, you are very confident in yourself. And I was like, no, I'm totally kidding. But truth be told, you guys, what is wrong with thinking that? Like, why don't we all walk around believing that we fart glitter and poop rainbows? I know it's such a silly concept, but seriously, that is how brightly we were designed to shine. And we are all, if you are struggling with a self worth wound, then you are dimming your shine. Stop doing that. Seriously, every morning you need to wake up believing that you fart glitter and you poop rainbows. And it's not arrogance, it's just owning who you are at your core. Because honestly, the cost of not stepping into your worth is resistance. You become a people pleaser. And again, you're dimming your light. Not worth it. If you are stuck around these people pleasing tendencies, you are not living your life for you. You're living it for others, for them. Stop doing that. If you want to truly live the best life possible, live it for you. It's not being selfish and it's not being arrogant. It's being authentic and it's owning who you are at the core. And honestly, you guys, gift of owning your confidence is you function from a place of ease. You function from a place of flow. You give off this like magnetism energy, and then you have that authentic confidence. And it's just the greatest feeling ever. When you function from this place, you are more likely to attract abundance into your life. And it's just the best feeling ever. So I want to give you guys some practical tools for how to reclaim your self-worth because like I said, this has just become such a pandemic. I work with coaching clients on self-worth wounds. I work with therapy clients on self-worth wounds, and it's men and women alike, you guys. I mean, I only coach women, but some of the men that I see in my private practice, they struggle with their self-worth in a really big way too. So some practical tools I want to give you. First off, if you're a journaler like me, I really encourage you to jot some journal prompts down and ground yourself and journal on this. Answer these questions. Where am I outsourcing my worth? Where am I outsourcing my worth? And then the other journal prompt I would recommend you sit with is what beliefs about myself no longer serve me? I'll say it again. What beliefs about myself no longer serve me? I know you guys already know this about me, but I do affirmations daily. And I have some, even though I no longer suffer from a self worth wound, I do have some that I do around self worth just to make sure that light never goes dim. So, some quality affirmations that you can do are my worth is inherent. I was born worthy. Confidence is my natural state. And there's so many more I could give you, you guys. If you want more than just those three, just DM me. Because seriously, I'll give you all the ones that I use. I'll give them to you for free. I mean, seriously, like, there's no reason to gatekeep this stuff. Everybody should be doing this. So, spiritual practices that I would recommend that have been a game changer for some of my friends and some of my clients who are doing this work is mirror work. If you don't or have never done mirror work, look it up on ChatGPT. But ultimately, mirror work is just the simple practice of looking at yourself in the mirror, locking eyes with yourself in the mirror, which we rarely do, by the way. Looking yourself in the eye and saying affirmations or empowering statements or gratitude statements and just like really being your own cheerleader is ultimately what you're doing. I also recommend inner child healing. This is like the bulk of what I do with my therapy clients. I do a lot of inner child healing with them. I've seen a lot of success from this in my own healing journey, and that's why I carry it into my private practice. But inner child healing is so powerful. I have books on this. I have numerous activities that I do with clients to healing to this wound. If you already work with a therapist, maybe reach out to them and see if this is something you can incorporate into your therapy treatment. Inner child healing is so powerful because more often than not, this wound either started in our childhood or it was a wound that we carried over from a past life or previous generations. Either way, even if it's not something that was formed in your childhood, bringing healing through inner child work is some of the most powerful healing. Personally, believe that. And then another practice to do is daily self celebration. So I have a couple girlfriends that when I'm experiencing wins in my day, I send them a quick voice memo and share my wins with them. The accountability is nice, but it's also just like raising other people's frequency or vibrations. It's just such a great feeling. And the more you celebrate your wins, the more you celebrate yourself with others and not just anybody, okay? Like celebrate these wins or celebrate yourself with people who aren't going to have that limiting view of like you're being so arrogant or you need to tone it down or who are you? Like people who see you and are comfortable with you being that authentic self and aren't going to dim that light, that's who you need to do those self celebrations with. And even if you don't have those people in your life, just do it yourself, you guys. Go on to Instagram, go on your stories and talk about your celebrations. Let yourself be seen. Give yourself permission to be seen. It's just like a muscle. The more you do it, the easier it gets. Those celebrations can make a huge impact on you and your self-worth. And in general, you guys, I just encourage you to do one small practice daily. You don't have to do all of these things, but one small practice daily, over time, all of that adds up and moves the needle forward in a really big way. I just want to remind you guys again, you always have the option to own your worth. It's not something you earn, okay? I cannot emphasize that enough. It is not something you earn. It's not something that others get to decide for you. You need to believe that you are already enough. You were born with that enoughness. And it is time to stop dimming your light. For God's sakes, you guys, like the more you dim your light, you are just giving other women permission to do the same thing. Stop. That stops now. I'm telling you, when I finally gave myself permission to be seen and to put myself out there and to own my confidence, it was like a major shift for me in my life. And people that are triggered by it, let them fall to the wayside because the people that are comfortable with you being seen, they will just naturally be drawn to you and they'll come like in abundance, I'm telling you. And I want to give you guys a challenge, okay? Just humor me with this, okay? I want to challenge you to every day when you wake up, tell yourself, I fart glitter and I poop rainbows. I know it sounds super ridiculous. I get it. It's super goofy, but it's that goofy stuff that sticks with you, okay? It really is. If you wake up every morning and you tell yourself that, then just watch. Just watch how life begins to shift when you see yourself that way, when you see yourself from that perspective. And I really invite you, if this is a topic that just deeply resonates with you or hits home for you, share that with me. DM me, email me, share your biggest takeaway from this episode. I know this is a topic that so many people struggle with, which is why I needed to come on and talk about it because I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm seeing this in both businesses. I'm seeing this in friends. I'm seeing this in family members and relatives. Like, holy cow, this is truly a silent pandemic in our society. So, if this is really hitting with you and you're like, wow, I didn't realize this was something I struggled with, share that with me because I've been there, you guys. I get it. I'll be the first to admit that I used to really lack a strong foundation when it came to my self worth. And if you know somebody in your life who is struggling with their self worth or confidence, send this episode to them. Okay. It's such a quick listen, but sometimes it's those short and quick episodes that make the biggest impact on people. That's my experience, anyways. And I know I mentioned this earlier, but if you want to read Jamie Kern Lima's book, Worthy, I will link it in the show notes. And if there's anything that I mentioned that you're like, "Oh, I wanna know more about this," just DM me, whether it's, um, more about my therapy practice or my coaching business or the up level method, which, uh, fun fact, that is going through a little bit of a transition. I'm gonna be doing a relaunch going into the new year. More details to come on that, but I'm pivoting slightly. I'm not gonna get into that today, but I just thought I'd end with a little bit of a teaser, in case you guys are wondering what's going on behind the scenes. That's, another story for another time. If there's anything you're curious about, you wanna know more about, DM me, guys. I'd love to hear from you. And I'm going to say it one more time just because it feels good to say it. You need to believe that you fart glitter and poop rainbows because you are amazing, you are strong, and you deserve to be seen for who you are authentically. All right, guys. It was so great being back behind the mic. Have a great rest of your week. I'll talk to you guys all next week.